Hello and welcome to the next edition of the BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on digital transformation strategies and best practices. Our next hybrid cloud advancements discussion explores the application development and platform as a service benefits from Microsoft Azure Stack. We'll now learn how ecosystems of solutions partners are teaming to provide specific vertical industries with applications and services that target private cloud deployments. Here to help us explore the latest in successful cloud-based applications, development, and deployment is our panel. Please join me in welcoming Martin Vandenberg, Vice President and Cloud Evangelist at Sogeti USA, and he's based in Cleveland. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Dana. Glad to be here.
We're also here with Ken Wan. He's Director of Cloud Solutions Marketing at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Welcome back, Ken.
Thank you, Dana. Always a pleasure.
Good to have you with us. So, Martin, let's start with you, if you don't mind. What are some of the trends that are driving the adoption of hybrid cloud and private cloud applications, specifically around the Azure Stack platform?
Well, really, if you see what our clients are dealing with on a daily basis now is that they see an ever-expanding data center. They see ever-expanding private cloud in their data centers. And really what they also try to do is they try to get into the cloud space to reap all the benefits from an agility perspective, from a compute perspective. So really they are trying to get out of the data center space, see that there's ever demand that is growing, and but also want to leverage the cloud, of course. So what we truly see here is that Azure Stack will bridge the gap between the cloud that they have on-prem, the cloud that they want to leverage, and basically integrating the two in a true hybrid cloud scenario.
And what sort of applications are your customers and clients calling for? Are these cloud-native apps, greenfield apps? What are they hoping to do first and foremost when they have that hybrid cloud capability for their app development?
Yeah, and we see a couple different streams there, actually. So one of the streams that we definitely see is the native cloud development. So more and more of our clients are really going into that cloud native development. We actually brought out a white paper not too long ago where we see that 30% of applications that are being built today are cloud native already. We expect that trend to actually grow to over 60% over the next 3 years, where clients are building new applications. But the issue that some of our clients have is that some of the data that is being consumed in these applications are either on the compliance or their information security divisions are not really too happy with putting this in the cloud. So this is where Azure Stack bridges the gap as well. Azure Stack can bridge the gap between the on-prem data center and what they do in the cloud. They can leverage the whole Azure platform as a service platform while still having their data on-prem in their own data center. And that's a unique capability that they have. On the other hand, what we also see is that some of our clients are looking at Azure Stack as a bridge to gap the infrastructure as a service space. So even in that space where clients are not willing to expand their own data center footprint, they can use Azure Stack as one of the things to really seamlessly go to the Azure cloud.
Great. Ken, does this jive with what you're seeing at HPE, that people are starting to really creatively leverage hybrid models, for example, putting apps in one type of cloud and data in another, and then also using their data center and perhaps expanding it through public and private means? Is this something that really people are starting to do already?
We're seeing a lot of this, Dana, where the customers are interested in using both private clouds and public clouds. And in fact, many of the customers we talk to are using multiple private clouds and public clouds, and they want to figure out how they can use these together rather than as separate siloed environments. And the great thing about Azure Stack is this compatibility between what's available through Microsoft Azure Public Cloud and what can be run in the data center. So as Martin mentioned, we have many customers, there's large customer concerns about data privacy, data sovereignty, security. In some cases, there's concerns about application performance. And in all these cases, it's a great situation to be able to run part or all of the application in on-premise on an Azure Stack environment and have some sort of direct connectivity to a public cloud like Azure, like Microsoft Azure, and have full API compatibility, so that the applications that are developed in say Azure Public Cloud can actually be deployed in a private cloud with no change to the application at all.
And Martin, are there any specific vertical industries that are gearing up for this, perhaps more than others? Is this a low-lying fruit in some verticals more than others?
Yeah, I would say that it is across the board, but I can name a couple examples of industries where we truly see a business case for Azure Stack. One of them is a client of ours that is in the healthcare industry that wanted to truly standardize on the Microsoft Azure platform. And one of the things that they were trying to do is they were trying to deal with very large files like MRI files. And what they found is that in their environment, such large files, it would just not work from a latency and bandwidth perspective. So with Azure Stack, this solution is that they can keep these larger files on-prem, very close to where they do their job. And they can still leverage the entire platform and still do analytics from a cloud perspective, because that doesn't require the bandwidth to interact with things right away. So this is a perfect example of where Azure Stack bridges the gap between on-prem and cloud while leveraging the entire platform.
Well, great. So what are some of the challenges that these organizations are having as they move to this model? I assume that it's a little easier said than done. What's holding people up when it comes to taking full advantage of hybrid models as well as Azure Stack in particular?
Well, what we see with a lot of our clients is that the level of cloud adoption is not really yet where it should be, to be honest. A lot of our clients have cloud strategies, are implementing those cloud strategies, but really don't have a lot of expertise yet on the entire power that the platform brings. So the challenges that we have are actually even some of the basic challenges still that we need to solve with clients that they're dealing with in just going to Microsoft Azure. Azure Stack simplifies that because they now have this on-prem, and it's going to be easier for them to spin up environments and truly try this thing in a secure environment that is within their own walls, within their own data center.
I was just going to say we're seeing a similar thing with our client base, is that as customers are looking to adopt these hybrid IT environments that are a mix of private and public clouds, some of the challenges they're having is how do you determine which workload should go where? Should this workload go in a private cloud or should this workload go in a public cloud? We're also seeing some challenges around process, organizational process, business process. How do you facilitate and manage an environment that has both private and public clouds? How do you put the business processes in place to ensure that they are being used in the proper way? And with Azure Stack, because of that full compatibility with Azure, it simplifies the ability to move these applications across different environments.
All right. Martin, back to you. Now that we know that there's challenges, we're not seeing the adoption rate that we would like, how are organizations like Sogeti and working in collaboration with HPE helping to facilitate this trend, help to, in a sense, give a boost to cloud adoption?
Well, being a cloud evangelist with Sogeti, I've been telling my clients that they don't need a data center for the past couple of years already, of course. The truth is they probably need some form of on-prem still, but the future truly is in the cloud. From a scalability and agility perspective and just the hyperscale with which Microsoft is building out their Azure cloud, there's no client that can keep up with that. What we are trying to do is we are truly helping our clients defining that strategy, helping them with governance even. So how do they approach cloud and what workload can they put where based on their internal regulations and compliance that they might have. And then truly doing migration projects. So we have a service offering called the Sogeti Cloud Assessment, where we go in, we evaluate their application portfolio on their cloud readiness. And at the end of this engagement, we just start moving things right away. And we've been really successful with many of our clients to start moving workloads to the cloud. Having Azure Stack will make that even easier, because now when a cloud assessment turns out that there's some issues to move this to the Microsoft Azure cloud because of compliance or privacy issues or just comfort sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's the information security departments that don't feel comfortable with moving certain types of data to a public cloud setting. We can now still move an application to the cloud, leverage the full power and scalability of the cloud while keeping some of these things within the walls of our clients' data centers. And that's how we're trying to accelerate the cloud adoption, and we truly feel that Azure Stack bridges that gap.
Ken, same question. How are you and Sogeti working together to help foster more cloud adoption or create a more simple and direct path to a hybrid cloud environment?
Yeah, the cloud market has been maturing and growing. In the past, it's been somewhat complicated to implement private clouds, as well as these private clouds have been incompatible with each other and with the public clouds. So this, in the Azure Stack area, now we have almost an appliance-like experience where we have systems that we build in our factories that are that we can pre-configure, we can pre-test, get them into the customer's environment so that they can quickly get their private cloud up and running. We can help them with the implementation, set it up so that Sogeti can help with the cloud-native application work that they do. So with Sogeti and HPE working together, we make it much simpler for companies to adopt these hybrid cloud models and to quickly see the benefit of moving into a hybrid environment.
Talking to many of our clients, when we see the adoption of private cloud in their organizations, if they're really honest, it doesn't go very far past just virtualization. If they truly haven't leveraged what cloud could bring, not even in a private cloud setting. So talking about hybrid cloud, it is very hard for them to leverage the power of hybrid cloud when their own private cloud is just virtualization. Azure Stack can help them to have a true private cloud within the walls of their own data center and then also leverage everything that Microsoft Azure Cloud has to offer.
And I would completely agree with that, is that in the past, many companies, when they talk about a private cloud, they're really talking about VM vending or virtualization. But because with the Azure Stack solution, it provides services, built-in services that are fully compatible with what's available through Microsoft Azure Public Cloud, it truly provides the full cloud experience and the types of services that are beyond just virtualization running within the customer's data center. So I think this will be a huge boost to organizations looking to implement private clouds in their data centers.
Of course, your typical end user is interested in their apps, and primarily their apps. They don't really care where they're running. But when it comes to getting new application development, rapid development, these are some of the pressing issues that most businesses tell us concerns them. So how does rapid application development, some DevOps benefits perhaps, play into this, Martin? How are the development people going to help perhaps usher in cloud and hybrid cloud, because it helps them satisfy the needs of the end users in terms of rapid application updates and even complete development?
And this is also where we're talking about the difference between virtualization, private cloud, hybrid clouds, and definitely cloud services. So for the application development staff, they still run in the traditional model. They still run into issues in provisioning of their development environments and sometimes test environments. What the cloud is going to do for them, because we've also done a lot of cloud-native development development projects. The cloud-native development projects are very easy because you can spin up environments on the go. What Azure Stack is going to help with is to have that environment within a client's data center. It's going to help the developers to spin up their own resources. So there's going to be orchestration and provisioning that is going to be on demand, in a more on-demand fashion. And that's something that truly is beneficial to application development, and it's really beneficial to the whole DevOps suite. I mean, we truly need to integrate the business development and then operations more to deliver value to our clients. If we are waiting multiple weeks for development and test environments to have to spin up, I mean, that's an issue that our clients are still dealing with today. So that's where this is going to bridge that gap to.
Yeah, there's a couple things that we see are happening that will make developers much more productive and to be able to bring new applications or updates much quicker than ever before. One is what Martin just mentioned, is the ability to get access to these services very, very quickly. Instead of going to the IT department and asking them to spin up services, they'll be able to access these services on their own. The other big thing that Azure Stack offers is this compatibility between private and public cloud environments. For the first time now, the developer doesn't have to worry about what the underlying environment's going to be. They don't have to worry about deciding, is this application going to run in a private cloud or a public cloud, and based on where it's going, they have to use a certain set of tools for that particular environment. Now that we have compatibility between the private cloud and the public cloud, the developer can just focus on writing code, focus on the functionality of the application they're developing, knowing that that application now can easily be deployed into a private cloud or a public cloud depending on the business situation, the security requirements, the compliance requirements. So it's really about helping the developers become more effective and helping them focus more on code development and applications rather than having them worry about the infrastructure or worry about or waiting for infrastructure to come from the IT department.
All right. Martin, for those organizations that are really interested in this, that want to get on a fast track, how does an organization like Sogeti and working perhaps in collaboration with HPE help them accelerate that adoption? Are there some additional programs that you work with, maybe just directly with operators, with developers, with both? Just give us a little bit more detail, if you would, on how you all help specifically get adoption patterns up and running.
Yeah, this is where we heavily partner with HP to bring the best solutions to our clients to leverage for them. We have all kinds of proof of concepts. We have accelerators. And one of the things that we talked about already is getting developers up to speed faster. We can truly leverage the accelerators that we have and help our clients adopt cloud and adopt all the services that are available on the platform. We've all heard the stories about really standardizing on microservices, on server fabric even, serverless compute. But developers have not had access to this up until now. And IT departments have been slow to push this to the developers. So truly the accelerators that we have, the approaches that we have, and the proofs of concept that we can do with our clients together with HP is going to accelerate cloud adoption within our clientele.
Any specific examples that you can bring, either Martin or Ken? I know it's difficult to name companies sometimes when they're still in a proof of concept or they're just ramping up, but maybe some more specific vertical industry use cases where this really demonstrates the power of the true hybrid model.
Yeah, I can share a couple of examples of types of companies that we're working with in the hybrid area and what places that we see typical customers using Azure Stack. One of the examples that we talk a lot about is where people want to implement disconnected applications or edge applications. These are situations where you may have a data center or an environment running an application that you may either want to run in a disconnected fashion or run to do some local processing and then move that data to the central data center. One example of this is the cruise line industry. In the cruise line industry, all large ships have essentially data centers running in them, running the ship, supporting the thousands of customers that are on the ship. And what the cruise line vendors want to do is to be able to put an application on their cruise lines, and these cruise line companies, of course, have many, many ships. So they want to run the same application in all of their ships. They want to be able to disconnect from connectivity to the central data center while the ship is out at sea, and to do a lot of processing and analytics in the data center in the ship. And then when the ship comes in and connects to port, to then connect connect up to the central data center and only send the results of the analysis back to the central data center. So this is a great example where having an application that is that can be deployed, they can be developed once and deployed in many different environments, like you can do with Azure Stack, is ideal. Running that same application in multiple different environments in either disconnected or connected situations.
I have an example there as well in the financial services industry, and we know they are heavily regulated, need to make sure that they're always in compliance. So one of the things that we did in the financial services industry with one of our accelerators, we actually have a tool called Sogeti OneShare. It's a portal solution on top of Microsoft Azure that can help you with orchestration, that can help you with the whole DevOps concept. And what we were able to do is just like Ken said, have the edge node being Azure Stack, building applications, having some of the data reside within the data center on the Azure Stack appliance, but still leveraging the power of the cloud and all the analytics performance that was available there. We actually just did a project in this space, and we were able to deliver functionality to the business from start of the project in just 8 weeks. And this was something that they've never seen before. I mean, a project that just lasts 8 weeks and truly delivers business value. And that's really the direction that we should be taking. That's actually what DevOps is supposed to be, delivering faster value to the business with leveraging the power of cloud.
All right, great. Well, I'm afraid we're almost out of time. Perhaps we could help organizations understand how to best prepare, understand what they can do from a people, process, and technology perspective to be able to best leverage hybrid cloud models like Microsoft Azure Stack in the future. So first to you, Martin, what do you suggest organizations do now in order to be in the best position to make this successful?
Well, truly make sure that the cloud strategy and governance are in place. That's one of the first things where this always starts with. But then start training developers. Make sure that the IT department is the broker of cloud services. In a traditional sense, it is always very normal that the IT department is the broker for everything that is happening on-prem within the data center. In the cloud space, this doesn't always happen. In the cloud space, because it is so easy to spin up things, sometimes the business and development is actually the client. So what we try to do is we try to truly enable IT departments, operations within our clients to be the broker of cloud services and help with the adoption of the Microsoft Azure platform. And Azure Stack is what is happening there, and Azure Stack is bridging that gap between the cloud and the on-prem data center.
Ken, same question. How should organizations get ready to be in the best position to take advantage of this successfully?
Well, as IT organizations look at this transformation to this hybrid IT environment, one of the very most important things is to have a strong connection to the line of business and to the business goals, and to be able to map those goals to IT strategic priorities. As you've done this mapping, now the IT department can look at these goals and determine which projects should be implemented and how they should be implemented. In some cases, they should be implemented in private clouds, in some cases public clouds, and in some cases across both private and public clouds. So then the task changes to understanding the workloads, the characterizations of the workloads, and looking at things like performance, security, compliance, risk, determining the best place for that workload, and then enabling, finding the right platform to enable developers to be as successful and as impactful as possible. Because we know ultimately the big game changer here is enabling the developers to be much more productive, to bring applications out much faster than we've ever seen in the past.
Well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been exploring application development and platform as a service benefits and best practices around the Microsoft Azure Stack. And we've learned how ecosystems of solution partners are teaming to provide specific vertical industries and application development organizations with the services they need to target hybrid cloud models. So please join me in thanking our guests. We've been here with Martin Vandenberg, Vice President and Cloud Evangelist at Sogeti USA. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dana.
And also we've been joined here by Ken Wan, Director of Cloud Solutions Marketing at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you, Dana.
And a big thank you as well to our audience for joining us for this BriefingsDirect Voice of the Customer Digital Transformation Strategies discussion. I am Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise-sponsored interviews. Thanks again for listening. Please pass this along to your IT community, and do come back next time.